Well, we got an injury update to Nikola Vucevic. Initially reported as no timeline for a return, the Chicago Bulls came out today and said that Nikola Vucevic will be out 7 to 10 days with his groin injury. This means that Nikola Vucevic could be out to the 6th of January, which means that he could miss between 5 and 6 games for the Chicago Bulls. Now, this is a pretty big injury for the Chicago Bulls. Like we've always said, and one thing that's been with the Chicago Bulls team is that they've never had really good depth at the big man position. And one of the positions that they could not withstand a long-term injury the most was the center. And so according to Sham Charania right now, due to his timeline for a return is 7 to 10 days. And so this is a major injury for the Chicago Bulls, not only just because of Nikola Vucevic's production, but because of also just the lack of depth there. And we already saw in at least one game that, Billy Donovan was hesitant to use rookie Adama Sanogo, who could become even more important for the Chicago Bulls over this stretch. The Bulls do have an open roster spot. They could try to sign a veteran at the vet minimum to add some depth up until that time. More than likely, knowing the Bulls, they're going to try to run it with Andre Drummond, Terry Taylor, maybe even some Julian Phillips there at small ball center, maybe even Adama Sanogo, who we all want to see. But this is a big injury for the Chicago Bulls. Nikola Vucevic, while not amazing stats on the season, is averaging 16.7 points per game, 10.4 rebounds, and 3.4 assists per game in 31 games so far this season. This is Nikola Vucevic's first major injury in a year and a half, as he missed no games at all in the 2022-23 season and was hoping to do so again in the 2023-24 season. Doesn't seem like that's going to be the case at least, but like I said, this is a major injury for the Chicago Bulls. I know you have Bulls fans that aren't really as high on Nikola Vucevic, but he is a major part of the Chicago Bulls offense. And even though Andre Drummond stepped up really good against that game against Atlanta, there are going to be times where Drum's inability to kind of even stretch out to the mid-range does provide some spacing issue for the Chicago Bulls. But for the Bulls fans that have been saying for a while they want to see they want to see Andre Drummond get a chance to be the starting level center. You're going to now see that for about 6 to 7 games, maybe even 6 to 8 games, depending on when it comes back then. So they're already missing Torrey Craig, already missing Zach LaVine. So this piles on to the list of injuries for the Chicago Bulls, who had a relatively healthy season throughout most of their main players on the roster last season. So this is a big loss for the Chicago Bulls. I don't want to understate this at all. They can weather it. Like Nikola Vucevic, again, hasn't had necessarily the best statistical season for the Chicago Bulls, but he's still a center who's been producing at a top 10 center level over this stretch of 11 games since Zach LaVine went down. Nikola Vucevic's production has been way up, even be it with a couple of down games in there as well. So, see how the Bulls weather the storm. I want to put it to you guys, though. Do you think this opens up more of a chance now that we have a more clear timeline on how long Vuce is going to be out, of maybe Adama Sanogo getting some tip? Do you think the Bulls go out and try to find a veteran option there? What do you guys think could be the case for Nikola Vucevic, to replace Nikola Vucevic over this time, man? This is a big loss for the Chicago Bulls, man. I don't want to overstate it at all. This is a big loss for the Bulls, and it's not going to be something that just comes so easy for the Bulls. And I know Andre Drummond has played really well. He played really well in that game. And you look over the last 10 games, Nikola Vucevic has been averaging 19 points per game, 11 rebounds, 4 assists in the last 10 games of that, and a block per game, and almost a steal per game over that time as well. While Andre Drummond can more than replicate the defense that we need there at that center position, the offense, the spacing, leaves a little bit left to be desired there. So this is a major loss for the Chicago Bulls, and it piles on in what is an interesting season for those that were wondering if Nikola Vucevic was going to be moved or anything like that, even though I never really thought that was going to be the case. We now get to see 4-time rebounding champion Andre Drummond step into the starting center role. He talked about having a starter's mentality and how that really helps him prepare for game in and game out. He's now going to be that starter for at least the next week and a half, which, like I said, equates to about 6 games, maybe even 8 at the top level of that. And so we're going to get to see how Andre Drummond plays over that stretch of time. This is something that a lot of Bulls fans were wanted to see. Extended minutes for Andre Drummond. They're coming one way or another now. It just comes on how the Bulls' depth is affected by this. And, three-point shooting is going to be even more important now for the Chicago Bulls over this stretch. And for a time where the Bulls are heading into their easiest stretch of the season, having the third easiest schedule for the remainder of the season, you would have liked to see the team be able to be at 100% but it's not going to happen. But let me know what you guys think as always down below. Make sure you're following the show at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail, number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See red if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.